So it's been a long time since I've reviewed an Infinix phone. So when they announced the Infinix GT20 Pro coming with features like up to 144Hz screen, a unique look at the back of the phone, having the MediaTek Dimensity 8200 Ultimate 4nm chipset, and with a price of only 1,299 ringgit for the massive 12GB of RAM and 256GB of storage, I knew I had to get my hands on it, so let's find out if this is great or not. So the unboxing process was unique, where the box contained a tempered glass protector together with the installation guide. Nice. Then there's the phone case, and it's lovely to know that it's not the typical TPU soft case, as this phone's case looks premium and surely protects the phone better. Now I understand that it also comes with a USB wired headphones, which my review unit did not have. Then there's a USB-A to USB-C 90-degree angle cable and a 45-watt charger. Now starting with the build quality and the design, this phone was very light, and I love phones under the 200-gram mark since it always feels great in the hands. Now this kind of boxy design are on the higher price flagship like the latest iPhones or even the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, so this would be something that you would get used to and really appreciate it as well. Now one thing to note is that it didn't feel the most comfortable to use in one hand because of its longer form factor, but it felt way nicer to hold in a landscape orientation since this phone is more catered towards gaming, and more on my gaming test later on in this video. Then the phone is rated at IP54, which is great to know because phones within this price range don't really consider that, so it's nice that Infinix included that. Then the back panel is not made of glass, even though it looks like it's made of glass, but it's not. As much as I do prefer having glass back phones, I did not mind the idea of having a plastic back because not only it reduces the cost significantly, but also the weight of the phone, which is a huge plus in my books. But do expect lots of fingerprints when holding the phone since you're looking at a more of a mirror-like finish all over at the back. Now speaking of the back, there's also a very interesting mecha loop lighting, and this is a customizable feature that lets you personalize this lighting with plenty of options to choose from the menu, like incoming calls, notifications and more. And this particular variant that I have is called the Mecha Blue, while there are other colors like the Mecha Orange and Silver as well. And also worth mentioning is the fact that the phone also comes with an IR blaster, something that I just love when phones come with that. Hopefully it doesn't disappear like how the headphones jack that is not present in this phone just gone out. No more. So overall, I would say that I like this robotic cyber-inspired look of the phone, and with a very nice detail at the back area, giving this phone a strong 8.5 out of 10 rating for me. Now as for the phone screen, it has a 6.7-inch AMOLED screen, and while it's lovely to have this large screen, some may have difficulties trying to reach at the top of the phone if you're using the phone with one hand, as mentioned earlier, because remember once again, it is more of a gaming-centric phone, so it is designed to be viewed and held on a landscape position like typically on a gaming phone. Then the screen to body ratio was nice, and there was minimal bezels and the edges are tiny bit curved, something to take note of whether or not it bothers you or not. For me, it doesn't. Then the 1300 nits of peak brightness not only meant that it was great to use this phone outdoors, but the automatic brightness was also really great too. Then in terms of the video content consumption, Netflix playback specifications were at Widevine L1, but there's no official HDR playback capabilities. However, when playing videos on Netflix was still very great, so it was on Disney Plus Hotstar and on YouTube as well. As for using the phone daily, the high level of refresh rate was really great too, making scrolling and navigating on the phone seem like you're using a flagship smartphone with options to switch between other refresh rate and also automatic switching within the settings as well. And there's also a very interesting Ultra Touch option under the display settings where you can switch to give the option to change the swipe speed and the motion speed too, which in return did give the phone a very snappy feeling when using this phone every single day. Another very appreciated factor of this. Now gaming on the device was obviously the main highlight, and the MEMC chip, which stands for Motion Estimation Motion Compensation, was really lovely too. So for games that supports only up to 60 FPS, it makes it seem like you're getting a high FPS level, which honestly feels like I'm playing on 120 FPS games on high motion games. Now as mentioned that it uses the MediaTek Dimensity 8200 chipset, which is based on a 4nm chip, and it's lovely to know that a phone within this price range comes with a 4nm chipset, so that was really great. Now, there are 3 different modes during gaming under the unique X Boost menu, specifically tuned for the phone when gaming, which is the power, balance and the performance mode. Now, heat management was expected to be good, and the good news that it was amazing indeed. Now, on Genshin Impact, it ran very well on the higher setting at 60 FPS with no lag even during the first run of the game. And this is without toggling the performance mode on the X Boost menu. Now, the gameplay was also lovely with the colors looking sharp and vibrant. However, about 15 minutes of continuous gaming, the phone did feel a little warm, not too hot to the touch, but the battery drain was quite significant. So I would just recommend for you to just use the medium settings to save the battery and of course to have a longer gameplay with Genshin Impact. Then I tried PUBG Mobile. Graphics at Ultra HDR and frame rate set to Ultra, and the game ran super well with no lag, and the phone barely felt warm, and the controls were very responsive too. Then due to popular demand, I even tried the smooth setting to get the extreme plus frame rate, and it turns out that the experience was magnificent. Definitely an amazing phone to play PUBG in. Then as for COD Mobile, the frame rate was set to Ultra and the graphic quality was automatically locked at low settings, and the BR mode graphic will still be locked and will be uncustomizable. But if the frame rate is set to max, the graphic quality can be set to very high and the BR mode graphic style can be customizable as well. So here's where I tried the performance settings with the X Boost performance setting at 90 FPS, and it barely felt warm. And the battery drop was about 7%, about 20 minutes, which was really impressive. And remember when I said that high motion games felt like I was on a higher FPS level? Well, that was very noticeable for racing type games like Asphalt 9. Then there's also other menu options like under the X Boost mode, like locking the brightness, locking the frame rates and more. Then there's also features like the eSports mode, which has the option to block notification and other settings as well. Then of course the overall lighting feature when you're playing games looks great on the rear side of the phone, which is nice, but it's shown at the back, so other people can see it, not you. So like I said, it's a nice feature to have, but it's not going to make a difference as a user unless you're playing games in front of a mirror. Maybe I should do that more often. So yes, the overall experience on gaming on this phone was really great, giving you a very extensive gaming experience on the phone. So my gaming rating would be 9 out of 10, but I would give another half points because of this price, man. Really impressive. So usually I wouldn't have a dedicated audio section when reviewing phones, but I thought that I would talk about that since the speakers are tuned by JBL, as clearly mentioned over here. So how did it do? Well, a little disappointing. While sound separation was great when watching movies and the overall level of gains were quite underwhelming, but the vocal clarities on the mids was not the best, sounding a little hollow compared to other phone speakers out right now, and this was very noticeable especially when watching movies and listening to music on the phone. But since this is a gaming type phone, the sound is more catered towards a higher frequency, so sound effects like guns in games and higher range sounds are more pronounced. So to me, I think that Infinix can do without the whole JBL branding because the speakers are intended for more of a gaming experience more than anything else. And here's where I would rate the speakers 6 out of 10, but give me your rate by listening to the audio recording test using our binaural microphone, so put on your best headphones. So what do you think? Good or bad? Let us know in the comment section below, and if you guys are enjoying this video, a nice big thumbs up would be very much appreciated, and a subscription would be lovely too. Thank you very much in advance. Now let's talk about the battery performance. It comes with a 5000 mAh of battery, and I was getting an average of 5 hours plus of screen on time at 25% battery with dark mode turned on the highest 144Hz display setting with lots of gaming daily. So that was really impressive too. Now as seen in the unboxing earlier, it comes with a 45-watt charging brick which got me from 0 to 100% in about 56 minutes or so. And a cool minor thing that Infinix did besides the fact that when you're charging the phone, there's a cool lighting effect at the back, was of course the fact that they included a 90-degree angle cable so you can play games while charging the phone. Now that is something that I usually do not recommend, charging the phone while using it continuously. But since there's an option for a bypass charging where it charges the phone without giving the phone's power to the battery, was indeed an amazing option to prevent overheating and of course increasing the longevity of the phone's battery. Then other worth mentioning features during charging include the AI charging protection. Yeah, the word AI is very much used a lot these days, but essentially it's a feature to adapt to your daily charging patterns. So in terms of battery, I would give this phone an 8 out of 10. I would give it higher, but I wouldn't because the fact that it doesn't have wireless charging, but that is very much understandable since considering the price of the phone. Then let's talk about cameras. Yeah, you think that I would skip that because it's a gaming centric phone, right? Absolutely not. Firstly, although it seems like there are 3 cameras, but technically there's only one usable lens, which is the main 108 megapixel lens. Then the other 2 is the macro lens and also the depth lens. Now I wouldn't get very excited with the 108 megapixel lens because pictures on the phone on the main lens was great, but more so during the day as the nighttime photos were just okay as seen in these photos. There's also a 3 times digital zoom which did not do as good of a job compared to the main 1-time zoom, especially at night, where the 3 times zoom did have its quality reduced. Then the front 32 megapixel camera performed well with great dynamic range on the background blur area during the day. Then as for video, it can record up to 4K 30 FPS. The image stabilization on 4K in the 1x mode wasn't the best, where on 3x zoom was also not as good. And while the front camera can record up to 2K resolution, but the image stabilization was also not really good even when I lowered the quality to 1080p. But here's a vlogging test for you to hear how the audio sounds just in case you want to use this phone for a vlogging situation. So this is a vlogging test and very interesting because Infinix have actually give us 2K video recording for the front camera compared to a lot of Xiaomi or even Poco phones. So good job Infinix. Love the fact that that is the case over here. So this is a vlogging test using the front camera on the 2K resolution. Test 1 2, test 1 2, test 1 2. Now as for the phone software, I will admit that this is my first time using this Infinix XOS 14 for GT on Android 14, where there are some customizations for the live wallpapers and icons as well. So all in all, it was a very decent software experience. I did not experience any lags or stutters when multitasking, so I have no complaints over here, and I would give this phone a 9 out of 10 when it comes to the software experience, simply because it is very plain and simple with no bloatware, whether or not you want a gaming type of UI or a simple UI option as well. By the way, if you want to have a written recap of everything mentioned in this video in a written format, head to our website at www.adamlobo.tv. Links will be down below. So, is it worth the 1,299 ringgit price that it's asking for? The answer is yes and no. Yes, if you play games a lot and you want a very budget-friendly option with a great screen and a simple UI, but if you're on the other side of the coin, looking for a phone with amazing cameras and play games casually and need a phone which has a really good speaker, then maybe you should consider other options. But then again, can you find a smartphone within this price range which has all the great gaming needs? I don't think so. Well, perhaps using this phone as a second phone would be another option as well, so you can make a decision. But who cares what I think? What matters more is what you think. So let me know how you would rate this phone in the comment section below and let's discuss it over there.